Okay, we are reading Joe Gallenberger's Liquid Luck. We are on chapter 7, page number 75 of the book and 70 of the PDF.
Luck. I received your Liquid Luck CD and listened that morning. The next day, I won $1,000 scratch off just by listening to the CD. I couldn't believe the results. Awesome. The whole day was fantastic and rewarding. Thanks a bunch. Follow up. It is still working. 3 weeks later, I won another $1,000. Also, I won a contest on local radio station.
So,
Keith.
what is happening over here? The moment we get into that consciousness where we are putting ourselves into a state where we can attract abundance into our life, abundance starts to manifest in our lives.
From the liquid luck meditation, and now add the last magic ingredient. Say, I am lucky, and send all good fortune, synchronicity, and blessing into your portion.
So, this is again from the meditation, right? We are pushing that liquid luck into our portion.
Just as with the other energies we have been discussing, in order to manifest powerfully and positively, we want to bring in the highest and clearest forms of the energy of good fortune. To become consistently lucky, most people first need to clear three impediments to the highest of luck energy. These three impediments are any feeling that luck is just a random process, then any feeling that it is somehow bad to be lucky, and finally, any feeling that you do not deserve to be lucky. That may seem a strange concept that anyone would feel that it is bad to be lucky, but bear with me and you will see what I mean.
So, this is something that happens to most of us. Okay. We somehow or the other, when we get lucky or we win something or we achieve something, we start feeling bad. It's the syndrome where someone else has not got it. Okay. We start cutting our own feet that log mere se jealous ho jayenge. What will I be able to do with it? So you are counteracting the abundance that you can create in your life. Again, the same example. If I'm pushing the table from one side and someone else is pushing the table from the other side, then what is going to happen is that the table is not going to move. Okay. If we want the table to move, then we have to be pushing it from the same side. Otherwise, it is not going to work. Okay. So we need to be very, very clear and sure about this, that we have to have clarity of thought. So again, Robert Monroe always said, and in the Gateway Voyage also we stress it a lot, that you need to start watching your thoughts. What are you thinking? Because that is what is going to manifest. Over here, he clearly says that you need to get rid of these things, that somehow it is bad to be lucky, okay? And that you do not deserve to be lucky, and that luck is a random process. You will find that some people are lucky all the time. How is it possible? Why? Because they are creating that state of mind, that state of consciousness in their state of being, that they attract that abundance into their system. Okay, and this is something that all of us can do. It is not restricted to a few.
First, let's look at the idea that luck is a random process. The word luck sometimes means chance, as in everything is random and at times an infrequent event happens, whether good or bad, to all of us that we call good or bad luck. Here, luck is considered just a random happening, and we really have nothing to do with it in terms of control or influence. Believers in this position feel that luck is probability taken personally.
So again, we have to consider that luck is not by chance. We can actually influence and attract luck into our lives.
There is a problem with deciding that there is no such thing as luck, in sense of good fortune, wherein we may have at least partial influence and control. The decades of psychokinesis studies referred to at the beginning of this book clearly point to things that we usually consider random, such as the weather, Flips of a coin and rolls of dice are actually able to be influenced by human consciousness. Also, some people have something happen that is so lucky that it defies all reasonable attempts to explain it away by chance, such as winning a major lottery 5 times. This should not happen by chance, even one in a quadrillion times.
So what is happening? Some people again attract love. There was a research done, I forget the name of the university, but on graduation day, for decades and decades, they never had a rainy day. It rained the previous day, it rained on the next day, but on the graduation day, they never had rain. Okay, how is that possible? So the combined thought process of all the people graduating was actually influencing the weather. So we can actually influence weather. We can actually influence so many things. We have seen that with the reball, where these like these AMFAM, when it came, it hardly AMFAM, and there was another cyclone which came. It devastated places in Orissa, but it was, and the TV was showing that it is coming to Calcutta. And then someone put on the healing group that Calcutta should be protected, and that cyclone, it went around Calcutta and went into Bangladesh, and we've seen it twice now. I've seen it twice, and I was wondering whether this will happen or not, to be frank with you. But the point is that it actually happened. So collective consciousness can actually do a lot of things.
Then,
Ikenya, this reminded me of our experience at the tea gardens. जब ओले गिर रहे थे, and then we put a reball कि ये तो खराब कर देंगे bushes को, and then immediately they stopped.
Exactly. It
Yeah.
actually stopped.
Yeah.
then there seems to be lifelong patterns that defy chance. A percentage of us seems to be lucky very consistently throughout life, and some people are amazingly unlucky. Roy Sullivan was struck by lightning 7 times over a 35-year period. The odds of being struck by lightning for a person over the period of 80 years have been roughly estimated as 1 in 10,000. If the lightning strikes were random, the probability of being hit 7 times would be 1 in 10 to the 28th power, 10 followed by 28 zeros.
I don't think we can even contemplate that number. Okay, it's so big. So the point is that we can actually attract, right? So this guy was actually attracting the lightning to strike him.
Sometimes it is hard to say whether we have been lucky or unlucky. Here is a story from Today I Found Out. Train Selak avoided death 7 times, but was often injured in accidents that killed others with him, and that should have killed him as well. A train he was in jumped the tracks and plunged into an icy river, killing 17 people. A plane door burst open, killing 19 people, and he landed in a haystack. A bus went into a river, drowning 4 others. His car burst into flames twice. While he was walking, he was hit by a bus, and another time his car plunged down a 300-foot embankment. Then he won $1 million lotto. While people nicknamed him the luckiest man in the world for cheating death so many times and winning the lottery, Selak disagrees. I never thought I was lucky to survive all my brushes with death. I thought I was unlucky to be in them in the first place.
So what is this? This is the mindset. Okay. So what are you looking at? What is the consciousness with which you are looking at a situation? The point is that we can actually create a huge and a very powerful protective field around us whenever we want it. Okay. And there are so many stories. In fact, there was one story that happened. It happened in my school when I was in St. Paul's, Darjeeling. And there was a long staircase. It was like about 100 steps. And on top was the infirmary. And I remember one of my friends telling me he literally tripped. Okay. And he was going to fall from the top of that staircase. And he said that actually someone held me back and pushed me back. And there was no one there. So what happens and when it can happen, we really don't have any awareness about it. But then we have this field is there all the time. The point is for us to make ourselves aware of it and then invoke it. That's the game that we need to play. All of us need to play that game.
Often, what looks like luck may be preparation meeting opportunity and then the guts to take a well understood risk. But I do think that there is a genuine luck, meaning that the universe, angels, God, or another person basically reaches out and blesses you with good fortune. This good fortune may be as simple as a smile, an encouragement, or guidance coming at just the right time and in just the perfect way. It can be as big as winning the lottery when you have huge medical bills, are out of work, and are sinking into despair. I think that the best way to invite this kind of luck or blessing into one's life is to feel deserving of it, to trust that it exists, to ask for it, and to allow it to come to you. My butt has been saved many times by this kind of blessing, and it is also true that wondrous things beyond my imagining have come via this kind of blessing. I love the saying, which is purported to be an ancient Afghan proverb: if luck is with thee, why hurry? If luck is against thee, why hurry?
Okay, so what does it say over here? Again, it's a mindset. I think that the best way to invite this kind of luck or blessing into anyone's life is to feel deserving of it, to trust that it exists, to ask for it and allow it to come to you. So what does this mean, right? That we deserve it. We deserve to be happy, right? We deserve to have abundance in our life. We deserve to have enough of whatever we need whenever we need it. We also have to trust that this will happen. Okay. The moment you start moving out of control, that I have to create it for myself, we transfer the onus to the universe to provide for you when you need it. But for that, you need the trust. The other thing is, this is again something that we keep harping on in the excursion workshop. It is one of the four tenets in the gateway affirmation, is asking for help. Many times we desist from asking for help. I think one of the most powerful tools of manifestation that we have is the ability to ask for help. Okay, if you need something, ask and you will get. If you don't ask, the other guy is not going to dream that you need it, right? So if someone can help you, in my view, there is no harm in reaching out, in asking for support. Okay, and the fourth and the most important, we have to step out of resistance. We have to allow things to manifest. We have to start saying yes. Most of the time, if you look at yourself, you're saying no, I can't do it, I won't do it, I'm not capable of doing it. So you're cutting your own feet all the time. The moment you say yes, if something has manifested or come into your life, let me tell you, we all have the ability to do it. Otherwise, it would not have come into your life. The point is, take the first step in doing it. The moment we start doing that, you will find that all the resources necessary for you to make it happen will automatically start to manifest. But what do? We say, no, I can't do it, I won't do it. And that's when you slaughter it. You get into resistance. You're not allowing it to manifest. Yes, Renuji.
Bhaiya, can you repeat what were the four? One was for asking for help.
So the
step out of resistance.
One second. So I think that the best way to invite this kind of luck or blessing into one's life is to feel deserving of it, number one.
Yeah.
To trust that it exists, to trust that it will manifest in my life, to ask for it, and to allow it to come into your life.
Trust that it will.
Okay. So deserving, trust, asking, allowing.
Allowing. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
In decades of teaching manifestation, and particularly in the 70 Inner Vegas adventure workshops, I have found that people most often report feeling lucky before they win, and then this luck is confirmed by the win versus feeling flat before the win and lucky after the win. There is a particular feeling and belief state associated with the generation of luck.
So again, if you start observing yourself, right, that the times that you are lucky, what is your state of mind? What is your state of being? What is your state of consciousness? And then start catching it and cultivating that state of being and consciousness, you can start making the luck roll into your life in a more profound manner. Yes, I know you're not Rishta Jain. You've not logged in with your full name. Rishta
Yes,
Jain.
I haven't changed. I was listening with her. I had a question, sir, that when you were saying that we should ask what we want, we have been listening to many others that they say that karam kare ja phal ki aasha mat kar, or what we say it as, for example, I am doing a business. Keep doing your business. Outcome is to be preferred is profit. But when we are seeing in books perspective, we are asking for something. I need more customer. I need more profit, or whatever it is.
See, you're misunderstanding the context over here. Okay. Over here, you're asking for something. It doesn't mean that you will go into a depression if you don't get it. Today, if you don't go and ask your client to buy your product, will he buy your product?
If I am able to convince him,
So are you not asking him to buy your product?
yes, I am.
Are you not asking your worker to work hard for you?
Yes,
Are you not asking your banker to clear your check?
true, correct.
Are you not asking your mother for food?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your mother will give you food in any case. Will your customer buy your product if you don't ask him to buy it?
May not.
There are 101 other people who are willing to supply to him. Why will he give it to you? Why will he give you the order and buy your product? Are you getting the
Understood.
context now?
Understanding.
Get it? So if we want something, I'm not saying that go and ask for $1 million. Naturally, you're going to be refused. So be conscious about what you're asking for, but ask for it. There is no harm in asking.
Okay.
Worst case, kya
So
hoga?
in
You
this
will be
book,
refused. If you are refused, accept it. That's it.
Yeah.
If you start getting upset by it and you're shoved into the left side of the grade because you didn't get what you want, then there is a problem. But if you don't ask for it, most of the time you won't get it because the other guy doesn't even know that you want it. Are you getting the difference over here?
yes, sir.
Okay.
And win-win situation in best
Sir, here when there was an example that a person gets a $1 million, what you're saying. So how does he attract that? And why the other person is not able to do it?
So that is what we are telling you, right? You start observing in your life when you have been lucky. And what was your state of being and consciousness when that luck manifested? And then start building on it. Nahi samajh mein aaya?
Thank you. Yes.
Observe what is happening in your life, right? See, the problem, the issue here is, I won't say it's a problem, that most of us are living life unconsciously. We are not even aware of what is happening around us. Worst case, are you aware that you're breathing?
Yes.
You're aware you're breathing. Are you sure? Few minutes back when you were talking to me, were you aware that there was breath going into your system?
Not consciously.
Naturally, that's what I'm saying. Are you aware means consciously aware, right? So we are not even aware of what is happening around us. So that conscious awareness is what is required. If you want to attract that luck, that conscious awareness becomes very, very important. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Your sister is your Rishita's brother.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So join the excursion workshop. She's not told you about it.
She has, but I didn't join.
Yeah, so see, now that's the problem, right? It's coming right in front of you. We've been talking about how manifestation can take place. You will not get into a state of consciousness which will allow you to get into that, and you want to win $1 million. दोनों चीज दोनों दूसरा अलग अलग स्पेक्ट्रम में हो गया ना कि नहीं?
Okay.
Okay, chalo.
Here is a personal example of the opposite of feeling lucky from my book Inner Vegas. It embodies the idea that it is bad to be lucky, or to put it in another way, that true and lasting good only comes from hard work. A long time ago, after I had rolled well many times in Vegas, when I would approach the table, the crew would announce, "Here comes Mr. Lucky. Bet big now. He is a super hot roller." This would immediately put me into self consciousness and fear of failure, and I would often lose quickly. The next time I went to the tables, the dealers didn't even have to greet me as Mr. Lucky to throw me off my game. All I needed to do was fear that they would say it, and I would allow that fear to put a big crimp in my energy before I even started to play. I could have used their Mr. Lucky statement as encouragement to bolster my confidence, but that was not how I was built. My training was that if someone praised you, you should act modestly and deflect the attention immediately.
So this is very important. Lasting good only comes from hard work. Okay. So hard work is effortful work. What we are looking at getting into is effortless work, right? So you hardly work, but the work happens. This is the state of being and consciousness that we are wanting to get into, right? Now over here, as soon as someone puts a label on you and it puts you onto the left side of the grid, your luck will go out of the window. Because again, please understand, manifestation cannot take place from the left side of the grid. So as soon as you become self-conscious, you start, the ego gets touched. As soon as we are operating from ego, we will shift from the right side of the grid to the left side, and then everything will go dhap. So in this case, what happened? And then also, please understand that we have memory. Now we've been talking about the memory encoding a lot after Usha ji suggested something yesterday or day before yesterday, I don't remember. But the fact of the matter is that we have many memories, right? Now the memory of that incident where the dealers called him lucky got stuck in his mind. Now whenever he approached the tables to roll the dice, that memory got triggered. And when that memory got triggered, he was shoved into the left side of the grid. And as soon as that happened, his luck collapsed. He could not roll the dice and he lost heavily on the crap table, right? So we have to manage our memories in a proper manner. So what are you actually remembering? What are you focusing your attention on starts to become very, very important according to me. Okay, so am I focusing my attention on uplifting things? Am I focusing my attention on depleting things? The more you focus on uplifting things, the more your luck will survive. Okay, this becomes extremely important. I think this is a beautiful example over here.
Just to show you how sticky to the ego two words can be, and to illustrate how it might come to be that one would feel it as bad to be lucky, I'm going to go a bit deeper with Mr. Lucky. In my family, I was the youngest of 4 boys. By the time I came along, my parents were considerably more affluent and considerably mellower about rules such as curfew. My memory of events is that my brothers would tease me about being the lucky one, whereas they were the hard-working ones who had experienced much stricter parenting. This would often come up when I was petitioning my parents for some favor that I really wanted, and my brothers' teasing threatened my being granted the favor because it increased my parents' reluctance to grant my request. My parents wanted to treat all their children equally. So when they heard, "You never let us do that when we were his age," it gave them pause. I would rebel against this description, saying to my brothers and to myself with vehemence, "I am not lucky." I probably even stamped my feet for emphasis. I attempted to counter their perception by working hard at everything from schoolwork to chores. So I developed a strongly set pattern of working hard.
So again, I am lucky. If I am blessed, if blessings are flowing into my life, why should I restrict it? I can affirm that, yes, I am lucky. In the last chapter, where we were praising ourselves, all of us felt better, right? So why don't we hold that in our lives rather than getting chipped off or ticked off by what people around us are saying? If we can hold our center, if we can hold our equanimity and equilibrium, then we can actually act out of that equanimity rather than getting hassled by what people are saying around us. So if he was lucky, he was lucky, accept it and move ahead with it. Okay, that's what that's the state of consciousness that I think we should cultivate in ourselves. What has society taught us? That if you're good at something, if someone is praising you, you don't accept that praise with humility. It boosts your ego and it creates a problem. But if you accept the praise with humility, then it will bolster you and it make you better at what you're doing. Okay, so that is what the consciousness that we need to get. And the simple trick, in my view, is to see which side of the grid you are operating from. Whenever, at whatever time you have, if you can figure out what state of which side of the grid you're operating at, you will know whether you are in an uplifting state of consciousness or a depleting state of consciousness. You just don't need. I think the resilience grid is such a powerful tool. It's really not funny.
Now, here I was, 30 years later, being called Mr. Lucky just when I wanted to be lucky, as I began a PK run at the casino tables. As they say, this really screwed with my chi. The bigger issue of always working hard had to be addressed continually while learning PK. I definitely had a tendency to make this playful, trusting, and joyous activity into hard work. Just to be clear, I do indeed feel very fortunate and have tremendous gratitude for my blessings, and am happy now to say that I am lucky. But for a long time, there was an ego part of me that was not comfortable when someone else called me lucky. And that ego part felt that hard work should be admired much more than luck. While I felt this way, I was not able to get any royal flushes in video poker despite trying for 20 years. Since that time, I have cleared this belief and began to feel that it was okay to be lucky. I have enjoyed receiving 6 royal flushes at 40,000 to 1 by chance each in the past 5 years, despite playing at the slots less often than chance would predict these results.
So again, it's the mindset, right? If I think that only hard work will pay off, then I will have to work hard to get a payoff. But if I can shift my mindset that I will go with the flow, I will do what is required to be done, and I will allow abundance and luck to flow into my life, then automatically that is what is going to happen. So we need to have we need to really take a deep look at the way that we are thinking. That becomes extremely important in literally anything that we do. Forget about luck itself. Whatever we are doing, what is the state of consciousness with which we are doing it? Are we regretting and doing it? Are we in a joyful state when we are doing it? Are we feeling happy doing it? Are we feeling restricted doing it? Where is that taking us? Where on the grid am I when I'm doing something becomes extremely important. Okay, so over here, he had to overcome that concept, that belief system that without working hard, you will not get anything.
The latest royal flush came a week ago while I was relaxing after training an Inner Vegas adventure workshop. I am going to go into detail here because it can give you a taste of the types of energy conducive to luck. I was feeling very happy with the workshop and fortunate that the participants were so caring and had experienced a great time, as it had been a very stressful week for me personally just before the workshop.
So he was stressed out. He came into the workshop and the participants held space and he was feeling happy that everyone was having a great time. Okay, so now he has shifted. When he came for the workshop, he was on the left side of the grid. During the workshop, he came onto the right side of the grid. So he was operating from the right side of the grid. Okay, at this point in time.
I was also in a very open hearted state, as my brother John had died in a beautiful and peaceful way the week before. He died at home with his wife, my wife, and me holding him and sending him energy and light and talking to him gently as he passed away peacefully. It was a situation where he could have been struggling for days for breath. He passed just after we played one of his favorite songs for him. This was a profoundly sacred experience for me. The week before, I had received a message from a highly intuitive channeler. She said that my brother had received a message, sorry, she said that my brother Peter, who had committed suicide more than 20 years ago, was helping John's transition from the other side, and that Peter was going to try to arrange it so that I could be home and with John when it happened, as Peter felt that the isolation of his own death was not ideal. For me to be home was a challenge in that my travel schedule often takes me away from home about every other week.
So Joe Gallenberger has actually written a book on the transition of this brother who had committed suicide. It's also a nice read as to what really happens on the other side. Now over here, there is a statement over here that she said that my brother Peter, who had committed suicide more than 20 years ago, was helping John's transition from the other side. Okay. So Peter, who had already transcended, was helping the transition of his other brother John from the other side. So they were actually preparing the ground, they were preparing the state when John would pass away. And Peter felt that Joe being home with John when he passed on would be a very, very important way to help John to transcend. So he actually landed up organizing that. Okay. And the first sentence over here is, I was also in a very open-hearted state. So because he was in that state of love, he was in that state of open-heartedness because his brother had just passed away. Naturally, it carries stress also, but there is a heart-filled feeling when someone passes on that you love. You open your heart out, right? So he was in that state also.
I left for this Vegas workshop the day after my brother John's funeral. My wife had a psychic reading right before we arrived in Vegas for the workshop, and her psychic, without knowing the detail about John's death, asked, "Did you, Joe, and John's wife have your hands on John as he passed?" He said that John felt great light and love coming through our hands, and it helped him transition easily and with so much good energy that he was immediately well ahead in his transition progress compared to most who die.
So again, transition, right? It's a change of your conscious awareness. Now, most people when they die, they go into a limbo state. They do not understand that they have died. So in many cultures, and especially in the Tibetan culture, they actually prepare for death, right? And in the OBE workshop, one of the things that William Bullman actually made us do was that you create your death ritual and you actually explain it to those who are looking after you when you transcend, so that when you transcend, they are chanting the proper mantra, they are chanting whatever you want them to chant for you. Okay. Now, when you transcend also, on the other side, there are helpers who help you, but you have to be open to allowing them to help you. This is something that we experience very, very profoundly and very beautifully in the Lifeline program that is conducted by the Monroe Institute. We conduct that program in India now, of course, at the physical level, not yet on online, but that is one program that I recommend everyone should attend, because it allows us to understand that when we transcend, what happens. So very clearly over here, the psychic is telling John's wife that because you all were there helping Joe's wife, because you all were there helping John to transcend, his transition became much easier. Okay. Today, when someone passes away, that time the first thing to notice and see is whether the soul has freedom to move or is stuck. That is something that we need to understand.
With this profound experience resonating through my consciousness and heart, and the relief of delivering a quality workshop under challenging circumstances, I went to one of my favorite poker machines to relax. I recall the feeling of being in the cascade of my Abundance Waterfall, having just listened to my new Abundance Waterfall CD the day before. Within minutes, I hit my royal flush. Since it was late at night, after I was paid, I attempted to sleep, but could not. I was too excited. So I went back down to the casino and hit a progressive four of a kind on my third pull, and followed it by the same win against two pulls later. All in all, I a $5,000 night, and then I could go to sleep. I felt my mom's presence right before the win, suggesting that if we are open to it, we may indeed receive lucky help from the other side at times.
So our helping spirits, our guides are always around us. We need to open up to taking and receiving their support. Again, the point comes here, asking for the support and asking with an open heart, from gratitude, with humility, not with ego. And when we ask with that open hearted request, we get open hearted support.
I do not think I'm alone in my struggle to understand the appropriate place of luck in our lives. When Americans are surveyed, they believe most success is based upon hard work. When we have done really well at something, do we not prefer to be told that we have worked hard and deserve it versus that we are lucky? We like this illusion that hard work is all that is needed. Then things feel more under our control, and we can feel that we are doing better than someone else because we deserve it due to our hard work.
So now this is a total belief system that we will deserve something only if we work hard, right? Today, if you really enjoy doing something, then it's a pleasure, not a pain. When I'm working hard, it's a pain. It is not a pleasure. Okay. So now today, we have to look again at our mindset as to how are we doing whatever we are doing. What is the mindset with which we are doing whatever is happening around us? How are we consciously becoming aware of what is happening around us? Where are we operating from? What is the level of consciousness that we are operating from? This becomes really, really important.
Yes, we should be inspired by people rising from disadvantaged circumstances and applaud their dedication to a goal. Yet, it is good to have the humility to understand that luck may also have something to do with success or failure as well. This will deepen our compassion towards ourselves and others when things go poorly, and increase our gratitude when things go well. As we learn to influence our circumstances, we might even be able to increase our luck. If we acknowledge the role of luck in our lives, then we can understand that what it is and cultivate good luck's presence in our lives. And if we overvalue hard work as a moral pinnacle, then as we create our reality, we probably will create a lot of hard work for ourselves.
So this is very beautiful. If in our belief system, we start believing that only hard work will bring us success, then we will attract hard work into our life. But if we can accept that whatever we need, whatever is required, the universe will provide for us, and we need to enjoy doing whatever we are doing, have fun doing it, then that is what will manifest in our life. Okay, we have to operate out of compassion, gratitude. This is extremely important. Humility. That is the way that we need to really operate in our lives.
One of the prevailing myths in Western culture is that we live in a meritocracy, wherein people get what they deserve based upon merit. We make those who have achieved fame in sports and business into heroes, and we like to think that they got to the pinnacle solely through hard work, smarts, courage, and dedication. The facts are different. Yes, most of them embody these qualities, but also there has been a good bit of luck. One example is that to have the best shot at the top when you are born has a lot to do with it, and we have no control over the timing of this important event. It turns out, as demonstrated in Malcolm Gladwell's book Outliers: The Story of Success, that the exact month you are born determines when you start school, and some kids get to start nearly a full chronologically older than other children. And these kids, because they are more physically and developmentally advanced, get picked for sports team, get better marks, and are put in better classes simply because they are more advanced due to the age.
So this is very true, right? If a person is bigger, is more mature than the other students in the class, automatically they are at the head of the class. So this is something which is very, very much there, right? So this luck has a lot to play with this. And it is unfortunate that, of course, nowadays it doesn't happen, but many times in the olden times, at least in India, people used to fudge the date of birth so that the child can join the class earlier. I think that was a very, very bad decision, because it can actually mess up the progress of the child if you start doing that.
Most of the people reading this book are lucky not to be among the nearly 1 billion people who are starving, or the over 1 billion people who live in extreme poverty on this planet. Most are lucky to be living in a place of peace, not war, to have parents that were at least adequate enough to keep them alive, and that they are living in a free country that has some respect for human rights and holds opportunities for bettering one's condition. It is also fortunate that we live in a time of rapid and spectacular change in many fields, including medicine, the arts, technology, and communication, and a time of decreasing war, starvation, and infectious disease. I am old enough to remember kids my age who contracted polio. Is it not lucky to know that an iron lung is not part of your or your children's future?
So there was this video which was going around in WhatsApp where they had everyone first starting in one line. And then they started asking questions of them. Like, do you have to think about where you're going to get will there be food on the table when you go home? Take a step forward. Was your college tuition paid for? Take a step forward. Did your parents support you in playing any sport that you played? Take a step forward. And then it was found that many people had actually moved pretty ahead and some people were left at the back. And what that indicated was that those people who had moved forward already had a head start on the people who were at the back. Okay. And it was a race to run from here to there. Now, if I already have a head start, then naturally the chances of my succeeding are much more than those who are at the back. And all those factors that contributed to them taking a step forward, they had nothing to do with it. It was either their parents, it was their society, it was their family lineage that actually allowed them to go ahead. So that was not by hard work. It was simple and pure luck by which you were born into that particular place. Like today, all of us are extremely lucky. If we can sit down together on Zoom, that means we have a computer, we have a data connection, we have the time to spare, right? How many people in the world can afford to do that? So we are already in the top 1% of the entire world's population just by being able to join on this call. So did luck have everything to do with it, or did your hard work allow you to do this? That's the question that he's asking over here.
Here is a list of things that we do not earn, that we have no conscious control over, at least from a perspective of life here. Karmic and other contracts possibly chosen from the other side are not addressed here. We do not consciously control exactly when, where, and to whom we are born. Would you not agree that it is good to be lucky, at least in these very important determinants of the type of life we will be living? Further, it is fairly easy to see that it is lucky to be blessed with parents, siblings, extended family, and community who are nurturing and who have the ability to provide beyond the basics, have access to good medical care and sanitation, and perhaps even have strong social networks to ease our way into academic and business settings and facilitate us finding suitable partners. Most of the people reading this book have been lucky to experience life and its opportunities very differently than a child born into the ghettos that surround many of our major cities.
So again, we are all very, very lucky, as I just mentioned, right? So when we are born, we are operating in an expanded consciousness state, right? We decide what we want to do. We choose our parents when we are in that expanded consciousness state. But when we are born, we forget what we had decided to do. Okay. So now we are born to a certain set of parents, but it is the result of choices we make in an expanded state, not in the state of consciousness that we normally operate at. So in the Monroe terminology, we call this state of consciousness C1 consciousness or consciousness 1. But when we are in that expanded state, we are in a very, very different state of conscious awareness. So what he is attempting to say here is that we are born into a society. We are born to certain parents, but we actually consciously, from the C1 conscious state, have really not made that choice. So what is it that we are experiencing? The luck that we are experiencing is not due to hard work again. It is due to the fact that we've been born into a particular race, into a particular family.
If your life situation from birth till now was like a random hand of cards, would you trade your hand for someone else's on the planet without knowing what the new cards would be when 1 of 8 people are starving? If not, then I think it is appropriate to consider yourself lucky to have the life cards that you now have. We have mentioned the law of attraction that like attracts like. So if you want to be lucky, it is good to feel lucky and to feel that to be lucky is a good thing. It is helpful to understand that luck can be just as useful and valuable as the capability to do hard work.
So there was a question asked to people. Okay. People were cribbing about what is happening in their life and how bad and shitty their life is. So they were told, okay, all of you put down all the cards that you're holding in this life on the table. So let's say there was a group of 10 or 20 people, they all put their cards down. And then they were given a choice to pick up anyone's card from the table. Whose card do you think they picked up? They all picked up their own
Their own
card.
Cards.
No one took anyone else's card. Okay. So we are actually truly lucky with whatever we have been given in this life. We need to change our perspective with which we are looking at life. Instead of cribbing and cursing all the time, let us look at the abundance, the opportunities that we have, whatever our circumstances may be. Again, I will tell you that story that I've been repeating. When I used to park my car and walk to my office, I have seen those children grow up being born and grow up on the footpath. And I have never seen any children who are as happy as those children. So you can be happy in any circumstance. The point is, what is the perspective with which you are actually looking at your circumstances?
I went into a lot of elaboration here intentionally. If, as you read these statistics about how many are struggling with disadvantaged circumstances, instead of feeling lucky, you felt guilt for your own good fortune, this next section is just for you.
So yeah, so many people, because they are lucky, they start feeling guilty. Or because they are born into a good family, they start feeling guilty. There's been, I mean, it's depicted so many times in movies that people, they start caring for the other person, the underprivileged, and they leave their wealth and go and sleep in the streets, etc. So that is not something which is, you're really not supporting the entire process. The idea would be to create abundance in everyone's life around you, which is more important than getting rid of the abundance that the universe has given to you. So don't shirk, don't reject what the universe has actually given to you. So don't feel guilty for your own prosperity.
Now it is time to focus on the third possible impediment to consistent good fortune. Any feeling, however subtle, that you don't deserve to be lucky, and its variants such as everybody is lucky but me. Nothing lucky ever happens to me. Being jealous or resentful of another person's luck, and feeling guilty for being luckier than someone else. It is important to understand that in an abundant universe, you being lucky does not take away from anyone else's ability to receive good fortune. In fact, it might inspire them to receive greater blessings. And with good fortune, you then have the wherewithal to help others more effectively. And of course, their luck does not detract you from luck potential either.
So over here, any feeling, however subtle, that you don't deserve to be lucky and its variants, such as everybody is lucky but me, nothing lucky ever happens to me, being jealous or resentful of another person's luck, and feeling guilty for being luckier than someone else, right? If you really read these statements, all these statements put you on the left side of the grid. And again, manifestation never happens on the left side of the grid. So if you are operating with this kind of consciousness, with this state of mind, then you can never attract luck into your life. So we have to be grateful. We have to be gracious in accepting what the universe is giving us. Be filled with gratitude and humility, and use this this luck that is coming into our life to help other people become lucky. That is what will create more abundance in this world, rather than taking your luck away from yourself. And in that case, neither do you gain, nor does the other guy gain. So the idea is to lift everyone up, okay, to the best of your ability.
I have been on many radio shows where someone calls in claiming to be one of the most unlucky people in the world. I respond compassionately and offer the observation that it is seldom about a lack of deservingness or lack of value, but rather about fears and limiting beliefs that are usually generated by our life experience so far. I also say, great, if life for most people contains a random mix of good and bad, and you are experiencing mostly bad, then you are influencing the randomness quite powerfully by doing negative PK, if you will. Now, all you need to do is remove some limiting beliefs and fears, and it will flip to positive PK. What seems like bad luck will flip to good luck, and you could become a powerful manifester of great experiences.
So this is beautifully put, right? Whatever we are thinking, whatever we believe in, that is what is going to manifest. So if I am constantly unlucky, that means that I am focusing my attention constantly on being unlucky. So now that means you are a powerful manifester, because that is what you are thinking and it is manifesting. So if I can flip the way that I'm thinking, if I can change my perspective, then I can totally transform my life once again. Okay. And make it uplifting. So again, it's a simple matter of shifting from the left side of the grid to the right side of the grid.
Why would a person feel that they don't deserve to be lucky? One way is to feel guilt, because guilt dictates that we do not deserve to be blessed, and in fact, we deserve the opposite, to be punished for some real or imagined failure on our part. To address this issue, I will present a modification of an exercise that is included in my Sync Creation Home Study Manifestation course on a special meditation CD called Abundance Tree. Even without the CD, you can do this exercise at home, and I think you will find it quite powerful in clearing impediments to greater luck. The exercise came to me in full detail during a dream when I had asked before falling asleep for a healing of anything in the way of greater abundance.
So this is a track which is there, and most probably we will be using this track in the manifestation program. Again, I'm in talk with Joe to bring that program here, but let's see when it really manifests, because we will do something else about it. Okay, I think we can stop here. Any